Good morning. This is Michele Zaragoza, team leader for Central Valley at Keller Williams, Dr. Lodi, Tracy, Manteca, Modesto. I was like, I have to go down the map. And Patty had a really great idea with this mastermind today, so I'm really excited to kick this off. So Patty, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start it off, and we can just all.
Well, this really came from listening to you guys, right? We had been asking at our last team huddle, what do you want to hear? What is happening in the market at the moment with you all being in the field, and what are you feeling? What are the objections you're running into? What's going on? We've been talking listings. Yes, it is no secret. We have a shortage in our listing inventory, which means we have multiple offers on every single transaction out there. Unless there's a few tips you're going to learn today where your buyer is truly the only buyer and they have the absolute competitive advantage. So in hearing your need, we reached out to several of our agents who really are doing extremely well during this first quarter in creating these opportunities for their buyers. And we asked the question, would you be willing to share, because it is the culture of Keller Williams to share what you're doing right or what you're doing differently, or that little tip that can help the rest of us in giving our buyers that competitive advantage. So today you're going to hear from all five people of all five of our offices. We have Desiree Vasquez, Lisa Aguilera, and Rob Rebella he's her buyer's agent primarily, right? And Christy Love Ramirez, Christy Miller, Irma Capas, Ashley Perdell, and Olivia, who's on Janet Anderson's team. And Mr. Larry Underhill is going to try to pop on a little bit later. And then we also asked, okay, outside of hearing some great tips, we're going to talk about mindset a little bit. We're going to go over, hear some great tips and information on what's going on. And then we're going to even nail the coffin in with Beth. Beth has been doing amazing script practice. Beth Blow out of our Stockton office. So she prepared some scripts that speak specifically on a seller's market. Some of those conversations you're having, some of those objections on how to have a really, really good response instead of just saying, yeah, you need to do that because otherwise you're not going to win the offer, right? I mean, you need to have a really professional consultative answer so they know that they can listen to you and be confident in the advice you're giving them. So we're really excited about this today. Michele, I know when it comes to mindset, you're my go-to girl because you have this excitement and energy and it's always full throttle. And sometimes as your staff and leadership, we have to say, will you slow down a little bit? Because we're trying to keep up. And that's okay because speed of the leader, speed of the pack, correct? So yeah. Michele, I want you to kick this off. And then our folks who are participating in this call, before we get into tips, what mindset are you using when you're waking up every day, knowing the type of industry we're in, right? And knowing the market that we're in, just to keep that positive attitude and atmosphere within you, so you show up as a servant leader to the people you serve. So Michele.
Well, I know, Patty, that we all have a choice. Every single day, we have a choice of how we're going to react, right? We also have a choice about how are we going to look at it? And then we have a choice of how we're going to achieve our goals. So my question is always, am I doing the activities to produce the results that I want? Or am I being the victim? More than not, when I chat with some people, they are always countering act as a victim. They already have an excuse before they even find out the real answer, right? So I challenge you all to be solution oriented instead of being the victim. Really, really dig deep and do the activities that are going to produce the results. Because I would have to say, some people will already say the market's this and the market's that and the market's doing this and it's so crazy. But if you approach it a different way with more of a positive attitude, things you look at will change. I promise you that. I promise you that. I promise you that. And if you have a good energy within you, it's going to be a domino effect. Hands down, it is a domino effect. And I do notice that with some people who I interact with, when they're positive, I'm positive. I know, Patty, when I call you, you're like, good morning. And I'm like, good morning. You know, I think we try to outdo each other, which is awesome, right? I could be like, holy crap, it's Monday morning. Bleh. But you know what? Yeah, I went and worked out. Did I want to go work out on a Monday morning? No, but I did it because I know what it does, right? But what did I want to stay there and have coffee with Paul when I'm like, get your butt up and you go to work, you too, so I can get my day going. So it's all about the way you look at it and the way you approach it.
Yes.
Hands down.
So who
Are
else
you
wants
going
to
be a
share?
victim?
Yeah, please share with us. When you're in that funk, right? What do you do to get yourself back into the right mindset so you then show up to be the consultative agent you need to be, the agent you need to be
How to shift
to
it.
get your business going? So share, open book. All right, just raise your hand or start talking. We want to hear from you.
Having that morning routine, like Michelle says, working out helps me. Gets your refreshes your mind for the start of the day. Starts the day on a positive note. We all don't like doing physical exercise, but when we get done with it, we feel so much better, and it's a great start to our day. That's what helps me.
I agree.
Awesome. Move your body, Robert. Yes. Who else?
I got one.
Okay.
Yes.
So we all know it's challenging working with buyers right now. And when I feel that it's overwhelming, I stop and I start to write gratitude notes to my buyers, to vendors, other agents, just everything, just to kind of go, okay. And when I bring myself back down and come from a place of gratitude, then I start to look at my accountability and be able to go back and produce more.
I like that. That is awesome.
Who else wants to share?
I got one.
I
Go
can't. Who is it?
Hold on, let me put on my thing here.
Christy. Hey, Christy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
There
you.
you are. Yes.
Okay. I say drink wine and
That's my girl.
Sometimes.
I think that helps a lot sometimes, just to sit back and kind of take some time to enjoy, because you can be running constantly. And, you know, I've done it where I've gone multiple days working in a row and writing several offers, and then to get all shot down in one day. And it's a lot to take in sometimes because you just feel defeated. And so, yes, I do all of the positive, you know, journaling, working out. But when you get to that point where you're exhausted and you've done so much and you put so much effort in and you're just like, what else can I do? Well, I just take time out.
I love
That's
that.
a
That was
really,
awesome.
really good just perspective, because you're right. And Carnell in our notes said, hey, he listens to motivational videos like Les Brown and Oprah, like tapping into someone else, right? That has just some really good affirmations. Michael, are you talking? I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you. Woo! I'm watching.
Well, I
I'm
actually-
watching people.
When you mentioned Oprah, I actually thought of Shanti. If you don't follow him on Instagram and Facebook, he's a great motivator and gets you going.
Yes.
Everything.
And you know what's really weird, guys? Okay, you're gonna laugh. TikTok. I'm sorry. I know TikTok. When I get to that, like, oh, right? Christy was just saying that spot. Anything to make me laugh. I have so many funny TikTok things that I follow just so I can start laughing and get out of a funk, right? And then once I'm in a better attitude, just from laughter solves so many things. It's amazing. Now I'm like, all right, completely shifted my mindset, move my body a little bit, even doing some burpees and jumping jacks, just moving your state of body, your physical state when you are not in a good mood, changing your body physique, just doing something forces your brain to change. You're like, wait, what's going on, right? Your brain goes into like, what are you doing now to me, right? You're not letting me be sad, or you're not letting me be mad. You're making me do something different. So sometimes that works too. Anything else?
Is Taylor on here?
I can't tell. Let me.
I
look
can't
at the
either.
chat.
There's like
Look at the
55.
participants.
But anyways, Taylor called me one day and she had a little obstacle going on. And I just said, really? I said, I'll give you 15 minutes to have this pity party for yourself and I'll call you back. And I hung up and she was like, I can't believe she did that, right? And so when I called her back, she was like, just so you know, I was really mad at you, but now that really worked. So you know what? And sometimes you've got to change the way you approach it. You got to allow yourself to be pissed or
Yes.
be upset, but then know there's a cutoff point and you need to move forward. Because is life happening to you? Then you're allowing it and you're being the victim.
Yes. Or is it happening for you? It can only happen for you if you're intentional about what you're doing. And that's not always easy, but life isn't easy, guys, right? If you really want to get what you want, it's not always easy, but it is simple. Go
I
ahead.
stop and refocus on what my goals are and remember why I'm doing this, that end goal is
Your
what's
big
going to
why.
make me extremely happy. So
Right on, Sandy.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, you got to remember your big why. Talk about that more. A lot of you guys with the offices, you see the vision boards, which I absolutely love walking in and seeing because those work. I was the one who said in the very beginning, 2012, what is this? Oh my gosh, I don't want to cut and paste. This is crazy. But I'm so glad we do this. I am so glad.
Okay, that's a little bit about mindset. Now, let's hear from some of our producers on what they're doing a little bit differently. And Michele, I believe you prepared just a couple of questions for us to throw out there.
Somebody text me, so I just
Yeah,
needed
and
to-
then just based on some of the conversations we had, Ashley, I know you're not on my screen right now, but I'm sure you're on here, Miss Purnell.
Yeah.
Hey, Patty.
There she is. Okay. So again, in building and reaching out to our agents, I had a little bit of a dialogue with a few of them on what they're doing a little bit differently. And the response I got back from Ashley was really interesting. And so I dug in a little more, right? She said, well, honestly, we're not really working with buyers. I'm like, okay. She goes, yeah, we're really just focused on getting sellers. And then what she said next was gold to me. And I said, I'm actually doing the same thing. And our agents need to hear this because it's creating those opportunities in a different way, because it's looking at the market differently. All right, so we're all going to share certainly about writing the offers and what's working when you are writing the offers. But Ashley, tell me why it is you're truly not focused on buyers.
Because buyers right now are the byproduct of focusing on sellers, right? But we're having really fierce conversations with buyers right now, just letting them know how intense this market is, because we don't we used to be really buyer heavy and take on anyone, but if they, we're letting them know like, hey, if you need a credit right now, or if you're utilizing down payment assistance, or you're a contingent offer, like it's going to be really, really hard to get your offer accepted. And after you have a really fierce conversation and just educating them, you can tell if they're still excited and if they're willing to do what they got to do. And if you don't feel that excitement, okay, you know what? I think this market may be a bit strong right now, but how about this? How about I keep an eye out on properties for you, but I'll give you a call when things calm down, because we can't go out and spin our wheels for a buyer, who's not going to take our advice right now, because it's so competitive. And we prepare them, hey, be ready to write above.
Really is you're ripping off the Band-Aid up front. We're
ripping the Band-Aid off front. We don't it's not the time to let the market educate them by putting in all this time with them and they'll learn through the market. No, have that conversation up front. And if they are still willing to do what it takes after that conversation, okay, cool, we'll work with you.
So what I heard is that you actually are doing a needs analysis right up front, right then and there, and you're asking
first phone call. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that. I love that.
And even sellers right now, yes, we're prospecting for sellers, but if they don't have somewhere to go, like we have a couple of escrows right now where we're selling their house and we're actively looking for a replacement property with them. And it's been about 5 months, multiple offers written, and it's just so tiring. These people are still very committed. We've tried to let them out of the contract, saying, hey, maybe you should give this a rest. But they still want to keep going. So, we're just, because of that learning curve, we're really telling people, hey, if you absolutely need to buy something or find somewhere to go, maybe consider, staying with a parent if you want to take advantage of your equity, and staying somewhere, because getting your offer accepted in this market, being contingent, is going to be brutal.
Okay, so say that again, because what I heard is you came up with a solution for them, right?
Right.
You're giving them solutions.
Oh yeah. So, we tell them, hey, why don't you look into Airbnbs? You need to figure out where you're going to go, because, we're not just going to list your house and have buyers on the hook for months and months and months because we can't get you into a property. We've been there, done that with quite a few people already, where we can't take on any more of those. you know, because it just hurts them and it hurts, you know, it really kills our time too.
Yeah. Now, Ashley, but there was one more point in us dialoguing before today that you said most of your listings are sold to whom?
Oh, we double end a lot of them and we don't even put them on the market.
Exactly. So say that again.
We double end a lot of our listings. We let the seller know, hey, if you want to go on the market, you could probably get multiple offers and get this. But I have a buyer who's willing and able right now. If you just want to plug them on in, we can do that. And most of the time, we already have a agreed upon list price, and then I tell the buyer to come in at least 5 to 10 higher, and it's a win-win for all.
Now I'm curious, Miss Lisa Aguilera, do you create the same opportunity within your team with you being the lead listing agent and then having a buyer's agent, right, on your team as well, where you say, I took this listing, does it match your buyers? Do you create this as well?
No, I don't think that that is in the best interest of my clients, my listing clients in this market.
Okay, and that's just a
However,
different perspective.
right. However, if my buyer's agents do have people who are interested in the property and can compete with the best offer that's out there, then absolutely we bring them in. But this market is so unpredictable and things are coming in. I think my highest one was 100,000 over list price, and I thought I priced the property well. So I don't know that we can really give our sellers the best experience if we're not letting the market compete for their property.
And I think it's just informing them, which I know as Ashley being the strong agent she is, I'm certain that she informs them of that option, and if they choose to take it as
100%.
their choice. Mhm.
Yes, and it's case by case.
Of course.
It is 100% case by case.
Yes. And
Everything
any
we
other,
do, I was just gonna say, everything we do really is, we are information givers, we are knowledge sharers, we are not the decision makers. And so absolutely, I agree with Ashley. She's giving them the options. And if that's the choice they're going with, then they made the decision. We didn't make it for them.
absolutely. Now, anyone else who was participating in this panel, Desiree, Christy, Irma, are you creating, I want to talk a little bit more about this because it is an interesting approach. And then I'm going to share with you how everybody else can do this. So anybody else sharing with the seller the opportunity to sell their home off market that wants to share some points that haven't already been talked about? Ms.
Yeah,
Irma?
I've done that as well. I think, you know, with Ash, she's kind of approaches it the same way, and a lot of us feed off of each other and get ideas here. But, you know, we could see it from both sides of the spectrum. I totally see where you're coming from, Lisa. And it's not necessarily that we price a property, say the last sold comp, you know, when you say, I thought I priced it well, you did. It's just right now, these buyers are the ones that are setting the precedents for everything. You know, I'm telling my sellers this right now. It doesn't matter really what we're pricing it at. I mean, we see all these memes and all these things on Facebook, you know, that it's like, it's so true. You know, you can price it, it's a property, you know, 10,000 over the last sold comp, but guess what? You're going to end up getting offers, you know, 50 to $80,000 over that price. So realistically, if you're giving them all this information, all we can do is give them all the information that we can. And ultimately it's up to them. They're the ones that are going to make that decision, you know, and we're just here to help them along the way and guide them.
Desiree, how many homes are you showing these buyers? Like, do you put what did you say, a ton? Is that what you just said? I can't see.
No, she made the face of a lot.
A lot. Yeah, no, you know, I recently just closed on one for somebody that I've been working with since December. Now you can only imagine how many offers we were writing. You know, so it's as many as it takes, to be honest with you, as long as they are reasonable, which like Ash and like I think a lot of the people here, we're setting these expectations up front with them. You know, there aren't any credits. You know, if that's the case, then you need to sit back, you need to save a little bit more money. We need, you know, to kind of reevaluate things on their own. And yes, you are right. Sometimes once they've written a couple of offers, they're getting it and they understand. But, you know, it's just, it's the market that we're in these things. We have to educate not just the sellers, but the buyers. It is a must.
How are
And
you?
I'll be honest, most of the time, they already know what's going on. When they, by the time they come to you with improve, they already know the market. They've been watching. They hear the stories from their friends. They hear the stories from their neighbors. They know. They
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
I agree
I
with
want to hear
Desiree.
from a buyer's agent. Robert. Yes, Rob, share with us, Rob, what you're doing there, because you are really working primarily with buyers, correct?
Correct. So basically kind of just following the lead with everybody else is saying, setting the expectation up front, educating your clients.
Tell me about that expectation though. What does that mean? What expectation are you setting?
Well, first of all, taking the time to talk to them face to face and leveraging the beautiful benefit that we've had over the last year of Zoom calls and meeting with them face to face and educating them about the market, showing them what's going on in the market. Because
how do you show them?
Trends reports. Pull up MLS and look at the percentage listed versus sold. Show them, hey, this is what to expect. And if they object to that, just say, is anybody taking the time to go over the market with you? It is very fierce and competitive out there. And you really need to know this information prior to going out, because it becomes overwhelming when we're at a house and offers are due tomorrow and you have no idea on how to put an offer on a home.
Mm-hmm.
So setting that expectation up front. And usually if you get all that stuff in a 30-minute consultation, it goes a lot smoother.
At least they're not as disappointed, right? Because they know like, oh, okay, we expected this to happen. Let's try again.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And setting it under promising and over delivering. So, hey, it may take 3 or 4 or 5 tries. We're going to find you that house. If they get declined, say, hey, don't worry. New homes hit the market every day. We're going to find you a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to take a couple tries.
Another thing Rob has been really good at is partnering with the lenders so that before he even goes out to make offers on homes, he has already explored all their options. Rob, you want to share a little bit about that? Because you do an amazing job with that.
Yeah, you really need to partner with your lenders up front and say, okay, what kind of scenarios can we do? Because all of you know, when we make an offer, it's likely, especially in Tracy, 1, 2, or all contingencies are going to have to be removed to be competitive. So in order to do that, and going off, Ashley, what you were saying, figuring out other ways to get an offer accepted, thinking outside the box. So not only knowing their financing, so if they're 3% down minimum, then you need to have a different conversation with them. Hey, it's not looking. We have an appraisal item that we have to address when we're making offers, and if you're coming in with minimum down, then let's look in other places where it's not as competitive. Kind of repositioning in that way. Getting back to talking to the lender, just creating a team front, figuring out different ways. Going back to if you have low down, there might be other ways to get an offer accepted. What's worked for me is releasing a deposit upon acceptance of an offer. And that's worked a couple times for me, actually. I've got I got a VA buyer in contract doing that.
That's risky. And yet, isn't it what buyers have to do in today's market to really catch the attention of the seller?
Exactly. And if they're motivated enough to do that, again, we're information givers and knowledge sharers. So we present that information and then we go forward, because ultimately we show them the information on how fast the market is climbing, on average of, say, in some markets, $5,000 per month. So wouldn't you want to get in a home now so you're reaping the benefits later?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, Olivia, you're on this call as well. I don't quite see you on the screen. You're a primary buyer's agent for Janet Anderson's team. Do you have any other points you'd like to share, just primarily working with buyers? What you're doing?
Yeah, I would just say, when it comes to the contract, every single little thing matters. Obviously we've already talked about, communicating with the listing agent, trying to have the best offer, removing your contingencies. but you definitely don't want to lose the house over something like a home warranty or a fridge and, you know, appliances, things like that. I would make sure to just keep the contract as clean as possible. And if you can cover that 1-year home warranty for your clients, I've been doing that as a closing gift. Obviously, it's kind of an expensive closing gift, but in this market, you know, I don't want to lose my offer over a $500 home warranty. So I would just really try to keep it, you know, as clean as possible would be my advice.
That's awesome. I would like to hear more about negotiating. You touched a little bit. I don't know who wants to chime in on this. Who is doing a really good job in negotiating the contract? Maybe.
As far as writing an offer, Michelle,
Please.
there's lots of different things. Buyers paying all title and escrow, buyers paying county transfer fees. Again, to what Olivia was saying, writing a clean offer. What is going to make your offer stand apart from the other 20 that come in?
So I just had an experience with Robert, which is why I reached out to Lisa and said, hey, I really want Robert to participate in this as well. Because as a listing agent, he was my buyer's agent that brought the buyer. And I not only had a wonderful experience with him, his offer stood out above all others. There was only 2 people I called back. It was him and the next highest offer. And I gave him the competitive advantage to get his accepted because of the communication we had. So I'll tell you what he did that made me go, wow, this is the one I want to put in front of my sellers, because these sellers are repeat customers. And not only was I going to get a commission there, I was also going to get it on the buy end, right? And so I wanted to make sure we did the right thing. His offer was extremely clean. They paid all title and escrow fees. They paid the seller transfer fee, as he said. So nothing that's normal in a normal market, no 50-50. Didn't ask my seller to pay for anything. And they offered my seller to stay in their property for 30 days after the close of escrow with absolutely zero expense to them. Those were really the highlights. And they did come in well above our asking price with no appraisal contingency, no home inspection contingency, no contingencies of any kind other than a very short period to review seller disclosures, which we gave to him like immediately. So we were locked into our offer probably within 4 days with the understanding that the lender just needed to get us the money to get it closed. It was pretty awesome.
People want to work with who they know and trust too, so that works as well. Leveraging your relationships with other agents. And I saw Patty on the sign. I was like, great. And that client had been looking for 9 months. I have the same struggles as you guys do too. It's all about just putting it in, and eventually it's going to work out. So
yeah. And Rob and I have never actually worked together before, right? We've never done a transaction, and yet that was our first opportunity. And so I've had lots of sellers over COVID, you guys, and I've been very fortunate. And sometimes I've seen some of our KW agents, you know, write really amazing offers, and sometimes I don't. So this is your opportunity. If your offers are not getting accepted, reach out to some of these panel members today, have them review maybe your last 3 offers and say, what can I have done differently? What can I change around to give my buyer a more competitive advantage? Christy Lev, are you still on this call?
I just saw.
And there she is. All right, Christy, I know you've been, so for your winning buyers, share with us 1 or 2 things, you know, that you feel other than the expectations, we've talked that, you know, is there anything differently you're doing to really get your buyers to understand, and then what's getting that offer accepted?
The last few offers I had accepted, I think that my communication with the other agent, the listing agent, helped a lot. Just also kind of waiting till the last minute to submit, so my offer's not being used as leverage.
Interesting point.
Yeah, I've had just recently we submitted an offer really close to the deadline, and the listing agent came back and sent everybody an email with everybody's offer.
That's crazy.
I was just kind of thrown back because our offer was like really, really solid and really good. But then when she did that, it after the deadline, it kind of just threw me for a loop because everybody's offer was disclosed.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was
A
just
lot.
Yeah. So so obviously somebody came in above that, and we couldn't compete after that. But, you know, we did have good communication and everything, but I just think that that was something that I hadn't seen before. One thing that I struggle with, you know, being an agent for many years, I struggle with, you know, I look at the comps, I look at the offer, and I think, okay, we're putting forth a good, solid offer, but I have to kind of not be so cautious, because I'm, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this buyer is going to pay 40,000 over asking price, and they're going to pay all this money over. I get a little cautious when it comes to that, and, you know, kind of think, okay, would I pay that much to live here? No, but I struggle.
But you're not going to live there.
Yeah, exactly. So I struggle with that a little bit, because these are your clients, you know, and they're going to come back to you years from now and say, hey, I paid, you know, this much. So I do struggle with that a little bit, and that's kind of where I'm getting out of that, because, you know, if they want a house, in the end, they have to pay for it, and they have to go and think ridiculously, you know, over what I'm thinking is a solid offer.
Can I provide some insight on that?
Please.
Sure.
So again, setting an expectation with your client. So what's worked for me is that an escalation clause is going to guarantee that that buyer is never going to overpay for what they're willing to pay for that home. And B, when you're talking about a low appraisal and you're feeling that way about there's too much of a gap, set the expectation. Hey, look, this is let's just say example, we're in contract for 460. Hey, this might appraise for 400. So really around, it's going to be, I'm not a lender. However, every 10,000 that it is low, your mortgage payment, the only difference to you as the buyers, your mortgage payment is going to go up. I would have these conversations with buyers that are 20% down and 10% in some scenarios, not 3%, because obviously they have to find that cash somewhere from a gift or a donor or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, we have those conversations. I think part of it is me coming from a legal background. So a lot of that, I have to kind of get out of that. I guess in this market, it's not a normal market. And, you know, it's just kind of, it's just different. And I'm starting to adapt to, like I said, you're thinking you're offering a really significant amount over, you're paying over appraisal value, you have everything written to the T, but there's always somebody that's thinking a little bit more crazy than you. I guess that's the way you could put it. So I have to get over that and be a little bit more daring, instead of trying to be a little bit more conservative. And
Yes, Christy.
Well, not necessarily. So if you have an escalation clause, okay, let's just say you talk to a buyer. Okay, what is the most you're willing to pay for this home? If it's listed at 400 and they're at 460, you gave them the information. You pretty much remediated all the multiple offers. How many offers do you have? How much do you think it's selling for? If their top dollar is 460, do an escalation clause up to 460.
yeah.
You're information givers and knowledge sharers, as Lisa said.
And we have to get out of our own way.
Yeah,
Truly.
Exactly.
Anytime I hear you, Christy, because I know anytime I felt like that, I have to remind myself, I'm not going to live in the property.
Mhm.
And this is an investment they get to enjoy, to live in and create memories. And that price, right? They're only going to remember that for a minute, like when they write the big check. After they start living and enjoying their asset that will build them wealth over time, they're going to forget all about that. They're going to love the home they got to live in.
Yeah.
Remember, they can say no.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I add something to that too?
Yes.
When this market started going crazy, I started to feel like that too. It's like, gosh, what are we getting our buyers into? Is this really the best thing for them? And what's totally changed my mindset about that is educating myself about why we're in the market that we're currently in. This is a supply and demand market. This has nothing to do with the crazy loans that were going on back in 2008. It's understanding how the pandemic has affected the real estate market and even money. And Rob will vouch for me, finances are not my forte. So it's taken me several times listening to the same videos over and over to understand what does inflation mean. But educating ourselves on why this market is so different from 2008, why we are not going to have a short sale or foreclosure crisis in our area. Not to say that there aren't other parts of the country that could have that because real estate is local. Real estate is not national. And so we need to understand what's going on in our market. And if we can take all of that knowledge and really process it so that we can explain it to our clients and help them understand, right now, paying $40,000 or $50,000 over appraised value is really not that crazy because the market is way different than it was back in 2008. So I would just really encourage people start listening to stuff and really understanding what's really happening. And then that way, when you're explaining to your clients and you're telling them they need to pay $50,000 over appraised value, they are going to pick up on what you're feeling. So if you don't trust it, they're not going to trust it. But if you can explain to them and you really believe it, it's a slam dunk.
Lisa, I
It
agree.
is really a supply and demand issue.
Mhm. Education is key. You have to educate yourself first because you're on the front line and they need to believe you. They need to trust you. So education is key. That was very, very good. I like that a lot.
So from here, we're going to pause a little because Beth does need to hop off here shortly to go pick up her children. We know how that goes. So Beth, let's go ahead and bring up that script and then we will come back to doing some questions and of course some updates.
Sure. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Let's see. All right, scripts. Patty, do you want me to run this like I would a script class or?
Sure, absolutely. Do you see someone on here who normally attends your script class?
Michael, is he still here?
Michael,
There he is. Hey, Michael.
Sure. Michael, we will have you role play with her, please.
Okay. So Michael, I'll be the client. You go ahead and be the agent. I'll put you on the hot spot.
All right, sounds good. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
All right. Okay, Beth, you want to offer less than the asking price? Would you mind explaining to me why you'd like to do that?
Sure. I just don't want to end up paying more than the house is worth. This price seems really high.
Okay, so just to clarify, you are concerned about home value.
Yes.
Great, okay. Buying in this very strong seller's market can be a challenge. As you have seen, prices have increased very fast.
Yes, they have, and I don't want to pay too much.
Okay, Beth, well, I'm glad you brought this up. It's my goal as your trusted real estate advisor to get you into your new home. So as we've talked about before, home prices are quickly increasing. So let me ask you this. Do you seriously want this home?
Well, yes, this home would be perfect.
Okay, yes. Excuse me. It does hit almost everything on your wish list. So considering how fast prices have increased and the fact that you are most likely competing against multiple offers, do you feel it's smart to come in low on your offer price?
Probably not.
I agree.
Right. And there we go. Here's another one, Michael.
Okay. Where are we? Oh, hey, Beth, I'm glad you were, oh, wait, is this the same?
So it's a new one.
Oh,
So
okay,
how will we
gotcha,
get our
gotcha, sorry.
offer accepted?
All right, thank you. Oh, hey, Beth, I'm glad you're asking. As we discussed at our initial consultation, it is a very competitive market, and there are several things we can do to make your offer more appealing to a seller.
Okay.
First, we can write your offer price according to the trends in our market, meaning instead of guessing on a good price, we will look at the percentage increase week over week and place your offer ahead of the market.
Okay, but what if we don't get it to appraise?
All right, good question. Thank you for asking. It might not, but that is not out of the ordinary in this type of market. To ensure appraisal is not an issue, we will either waive that contingency or offer to cover the difference if it comes in short up to a certain amount. Whichever option best fits your financial situation is where we'll go. This will help show the seller it is safe to accept your offer that may be a little ahead of the market.
Right, but I don't want to pay more than it's worth.
That's a valid point. But let me just say a home's value is what someone is willing to pay. Therefore, we need to write an offer that is competitive with the other offers that are being written by your competition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. And second, we can write an all or nothing clause into the contract for inspections. This means you still have an inspection period and protect your deposit, but you agree not to ask for repairs. So if something big is uncovered, you walk away, but your sellers know you are serious and don't have to worry about having to renegotiate in a couple of weeks for repairs.
Okay.
Finally, with your lender, you have a built-in protection. We can waive the loan contingency, and if your loan does not go through, they will cover your deposit loss up to $10,000. So by waiving your loan contingency, you can be more competitive and not risk your deposit. It's a win-win.
The win-win. Okay, so
Win-win.
that was just a really short script, guys, and I threw a few things out there. Generally, we do that.
Normally now. When do you have your class? Okay, so Alyssa just put the link in for her class in the chat.
And right now, Beth is doing script practice through Ignite only on Thursday afternoons, right, Beth?
Correct.
Yeah. So keep an eye on the calendar for that. And thank you for giving us just a little bit of role play there just to see how that goes. You guys, if you need to fine tune your dialogue with your people, practice on Thursday with each other and then go real play out in the field.
Yeah, and I try to do a different script every week. This week's going to be objections for sellers, and I think I have one on there for a buyer as well.
Perfect.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, Beth, go ahead and send me those scripts because a few people have just texted me for them and I can send them out.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. And you could stop sharing your screen. That'd be great. Thank you. And I want to just take a moment to welcome Fresno. We have some agents from our Fresno office, and we just need to apologize that Cody Gibson had to
He had to reschedule.
He
He had a flight. He had a flight and he couldn't change the flight. So he will be coming back to us.
Yes. So and we'll let you know when that's coming up too, so we can all be on this together. So just wanted to let you guys all know that. We do have some other things we need to chat about, but does anybody have questions that they want to ask the agents that we haven't asked yet? Because you guys are all going through, different things. So please make sure you ask questions.
So I'll say one thing I did that were an offer that got accepted, and those that are sharing, we only want to hear on stuff that actually got accepted, obviously, and questions you might have. So there's this one form that I pulled out of my toolbox that hasn't been used in a very long time, and it's called the confidentiality agreement. Okay. That means when you put that as the top page, kind of my cover sheet to this offer, it's asking the sellers and their agent to keep you check off what you want to keep confidential. Normally this is like if you're keeping the buyer's name or if it's someone that doesn't want to know who they aren't per se. But right now in this market, I don't want them sharing my terms, my price. If I'm giving them 60 days or 30 days to stay for free, we put the confidentiality agreement on top saying, here's my offer and it's strong, and yet sellers and agent, you are now allowed to share my terms with anyone else, even after it's accepted. Of course, sure, they could share it after it goes pending and closed with MLS and normal procedures, but it locks down your offer a little bit. Now, does it mean that every agent will adhere to that? No. And yet, will it work sometimes? Absolutely. So I'm willing to use it if I've had a conversation with the agent that leads me to believe they will play along with that and keep my terms private. All right, questions. Roll them in, guys.
Looks like Carnell Jones had a question.
All right, let me look. Sometimes I have to scroll through this chat. So if you want to say it out loud, Carnell. Yes.
Okay, so I have a seller that wants everyone to know what is the current highest price because he wants to get a possible max.
Oh.
Hello? So if there's a confidentiality clause and it's the highest, so I'm in a bind.
Gems,
Hello?
you're cutting out quite a bit, Gems.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were cutting out a lot.
Okay. If I have a seller who wants everyone to know exactly what the highest bidders, because he wants to get the max he can get from everyone. So if, say for example, I gave one of the buyers gave a confidentiality clause and it's the highest, how do I skate away from that?
You don't.
But still try to get the highest price from the buyer. Hello?
That would be your highest counter of your highest and best terms.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because you're not sharing their information with anybody else, but you're asking for highest and best terms of everyone else.
I gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
So one of the questions that I had posted earlier is because right now I have 3 buyers that will be ready in May. And my fear is they don't have that big tech money. And I've been doing research on down payment assistance and closing cost assistance programs. And if that's included in my offer, I'm wondering, will that kind of, make the seller not want to take their offer, because I want them to have extra money to be able to compete, if they have to, put in an offer well over the appraisal price.
Well, Carnell, what you need to be careful with, and certainly speak with your lender about this, is that when the client is receiving down payment assistance money, they're not allowed to contribute a lot of their own money for like appraisal gaps and things. Because if they have that money to contribute, they shouldn't be getting help of assistance of things like down payment. So get very knowledgeable with your lender as to how much the actual buyer can contribute if they are receiving third-party funds.
Okay, and one of the strategies was, I know that some people have pulled funds from their 401ks because of the CARES Act last year, and you didn't get penalized. So one of my clients I actually used to work with, he's going to be using the money that he actually saved.
Oh, that's awesome.
I literally had several times had somebody say, if you don't want me to share your information, or I recommend when submitting an offer to put a C in, what is it, a C and D? Yeah, in with your offer. I mean, the thing is that
They were having a sidebar conversation, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I wanted to put out there that I have a bunch of buyers that are using down payment assistance. My last 3 buyers have used down payment assistance, and we were able to get the offer because they were paying over appraised value. One of them was using quite a bit of money, of their own money, out of one was a gift, some was out of 401k. So I know that I saw questions, is that going to be a stepping hindrance? And it hasn't been for me, but you don't disclose to them that they're using down payment assistance. That's not part of what you need to disclose to the seller.
Yes, you don't have to disclose it on the contract. It may be on the pre-approval. However, you don't have to do that.
Not on my pre-approvals.
Because I was thinking when they ask for the proof of funds, that'll be one of the things that they would be asking to look at.
Not too many, I haven't seen too many people asking for proof of funds in the remarks of the showings anymore. And they can call back on to the lender as well. If they want to dive in deeper, then that seller's agent would be calling your lender. So I have a question here, but it says, what are you doing for your FHA buyers who have the same amount of money to put down, but go over a huge amount on appraisal, pay for all the extra fees for the seller?
We do not have all the extras, the same amount of money.
Is your buyer 3.5% down?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing, is start having conversations with that buyer on if there's any other ways they can get funds. Do they have a family member that can give funds? Setting the expectation, asking the loan officer, hey, this is what the cash to close is. So example, $400,000 purchase price is $20,000 at 3% down, cash to close. Any funds that might be needed over that, depending on what situation you run into, you're going to have these discussions with your client and see, do you have a parent that has funds or anything like that? Really getting the loan officer to give a loan estimate so that it's clear what they have to come in at close. And then that appraisal thing that you might have experienced when you go to a house and about to submit an offer, have that conversation.
There's also lender credits.
Yes.
That the rates are so low right now, so that if they do increase their rate a little bit, it's really not going to hurt so much as if it were at a higher rate. But I think lender credits are something that we've forgotten about too.
Yes. Keller Mortgage, guys, I just want to throw it out there. They have 0 origination fees, 0 lender fees. And because you're a Keller Williams agent, as long as it's over 250, which all markets are right now, they will get $1,000 back towards their closing cost. So working with the lender on those credits.
And for 60 days, it's 0.25% lower than what's been out there for 60 days. So if you're refinancing, that's another reason why you should be reaching out to your database as well. right? It gives you another touch. So it's a quarter difference right now. I'm even thinking about it. So
Check
yeah.
with Keller Mortgage. Keller Mortgage is a great tool that not all of us use. So please make sure to, if you have more questions on that, connect with Michelle, Patrick, Barbara, right? Somebody in your leadership that does know more about these programs.
The other thing too, going back to having that upfront expectations conversation is, especially with the FHA buyers, a lot of them are new into the market. We need to really get them to realize this is not a buy your forever home market.
Exactly.
This is a get into the game market. So that means that if you grew up in Tracy and you want to live in Tracy, that's great, but you're probably not going to buy in Tracy. Go get yourself in the game. Rob just sold a house to someone in Mariposa, and I don't know if that was the situation with them, but that's really far off. But they're in a home now, they're building equity, and if they want to move closer to Bay Area or wherever, they at least have that equity now building up. So it's that conversation of, this is not your forever home market. This is get in the game market.
Yes, win the deal market. Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. And it's not about, the first home thing. The people that are winning with inflation are the people that are buying physical assets. You're sitting on your money and you're relying on you're hoarding your money. It's decreasing by an average of 4 to 6% in value a year. That's what inflation does to your cash.
You guys, this is amazing. I love how we all have come together on different topics and mastermind like this. This is something that I want to keep on doing. And I'm proud of each and every one of you. And because what's really cool is I'm watching and listening to Rob, and it's like, what has happened the last couple of years? You're amazing, my friend. I love how you have just taken this and taken so much territory. So congratulations, Rob. This is
Yay, Rob.
Thank you.
Yes. Hey, can we just share? I mean, Rob was your marketing person, correct, Lisa?
He was not in real
I was
estate
her
at all.
everything.
He was my everything.
Right. And now look at you. Holy Toledo. Cheers to you. Here's my wine. Cheers to you. Sorry, it's water. But yeah.
And I know, Michelle, for the sake of time, we're getting close. So let's do some updates, and you all know how to reach out to us. All right.
Can
If
I-
you're having challenges, reach out.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, last question.
So we've talked about FHA. What about VA loans? Are they even playing in the game?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, if they have cash to bridge, that's the main thing you find out, is if they have cash to bridge, then there's still a chance, of course.
And I know Lisa's team works a lot with veterans, as do I. Know that get yourself really educated about that VA loan. So Janice, if you haven't consistently worked with a lot of veterans, please reach out to those of us who have, just to bring you up to speed as to what's really permitted for them to pay for. Right? They can pay for a whole lot of their own stuff.
She works a lot with them. And
who was that?
Hey, yeah, Sherry Dolan and Belinda, those guys too. So yeah, definitely. Okay, you guys, let's talk about Red Day real quick. Janet, go ahead, please. McMahon.
Thank you. So most of you hopefully have seen by now that we have an amazing fundraiser for all offices, and it is a 2-night stay at the Fairmont Heritage Place Ghirardelli in San Francisco. This property is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a full kitchen and averages over $1,000 per night.
Easily over $1,000.
Yes. So it's over a $2,000 value. And we are selling raffle tickets for only $100 each for your chance to win this 2-night stay. This stay does have to be used before December 16th this year, but there's still plenty of time left to use it. But anyways, we're going to sell these raffle tickets, and all the funds will be divided out amongst all of the offices. So I just checked in with Peggy to see how many raffle tickets we've sold.
We're putting it out there. We're good.
Okay, and you guys, I actually posted it. This is what I expect from you all. I expect you to copy and paste it and put it out there on your Facebook.
Okay, I'm going to right now.
Love you, Desiree. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, so that's wonderful. We all need to be talking about it because it helps all of our communities. Red Day is when we close down and we give back to our communities. And together we're going to do this and we'll be very, very successful at this. We always have been and we always will. So also I wanted to make sure you guys saw, well, it's probably going to be emailed out because I don't think it has been emailed out yet. The save the dates. The save the dates are coming up. We have a meeting coming up in June, and Fresno, you're invited as well, just so you know. It's with Carolyn. Carolyn, pronounce her last name. I'm going to say it wrong. Somebody, Hoehoehoa. Des, you know her as well. So she is part of Gary Keller's Top 100. She has 2 teams in Northern California and Southern California. She actually is part of a recruiting system that the region or that KWRI has put together. She is amazing. Lisa, did you ask me a question? How? Yes, Caroline Howe. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I've actually been talking with her for about 6 months, and we actually had a face-to-face Zoom call the other day, and I asked her if she would take an hour and chat it up with us and do some questions and answers with you all. So make sure you bring really good questions. She has fell forward just as many as, you know, as all the other successful people out there. You always want to fail forward because that means you're pushing your ceiling, right? So definitely come together and bring some really good questions on building a team, investing, actually raising a heck of a son. Her son is, if you should have seen her on Masterminds, her son was being interviewed. It was amazing, and actually put something out there in our private Facebook group. Definitely go on and watch his YouTube channel. He's 20 years old and he is so knowledgeable on the stock market that it's crazy. Anyways, oh, you sent his video to your nephew. I sent it to my kids too.
Yeah, he wants to be an investor, so I was like, you need to watch this.
Right? Oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. This woman has touched a lot of people's lives, and it's going to be incredible. I just hope everybody shows up and asks really, really good questions. So yeah, we have a couple other classes coming up. We have the one with Bev Steiner. Is that today? I think it's or this week. It's on building your wealth. So you want to make sure you chime in on that. You guys, Keller Williams teaches you how to run a business. We also teach you about life. We teach you about life. And that's what makes us different all the way around. I do want to share with you something about KW Cares. I don't know what just happened. Oh, there you go. That's our save the date. Thank you so much. Quantum Leap, amazing, amazing, life-changing. But I do want to back up and just talk about KW Cares. KW Cares, we have an agent who is going through some struggles right now with his wife, and I'm sure you guys all have seen it on Facebook. However, that day when we were told about what was going on, KW Cares actually gave him $5,000, just $5,000 without the application even being processed. And this is because of people like you who are giving back and building up the KW Cares funnel, if you will, right? So it's not just for fires or earthquakes or what have you. It's for people just like you and me who are going through things. And this family is going to need, they've got a long road ahead of them, but positive thinking, you know, things things you look at change, right? Or things the way you look at things.
Change the way you look at things, and things you look at change.
Yes, I'm trying not to really focus on the topic too much because I will get upset. We all know I'm a crier. So bottom line is KW Cares needs you. So on every closing, if you can just give $1, $50, $5, $25, doesn't matter the amount, because you know what? It changes worlds. It changes people's lives.
And let's hope you all never need it.
Yes.
Right? It's one of those things, I call it karma points. You put it out there in the world, never expecting anything in return. And yet, if I ever did, I would hope that all the times I chose to pay into KW Cares, that they reciprocate and take care of my family as they're doing for our agent now.
Yes. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you all. Okay, what else should we chat about? Let me see if there's anything in the chat room here. I don't see. Robert, I'll send you some information on KW Mortgage. I just got done talking with them like 20 minutes ago, right before this.
Actually the people chatted. Thank you for who sent the 2 loan officer contacts.
There you go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I love it. Together, everyone achieves more. That's what we're all about, you guys. So if there's any other class that you're interested in, let us know and we will get it for you. I did hear somebody mentioning about an appraiser to come out and chat with us. We have that scheduled, but he had to cancel it. Now we're just trying to get a new date. So we're working on that. So if there's anything else, don't hesitate to text myself and we'll get things going.
All right.
All right, you guys, it's Monday.
Wrap up the month.
Have a beautiful day. And what you do today is going to show up. So keep on doing it. Consistency is key, guys. Consistency is key.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you for all of our people on the panel today. We appreciate you all. Thank you.